On the political left, where there's more of a fan base for soccer in the United States, it has presented a political dilemma. Do we thank the president for helping the team, or do we denounce him, or do we denounce the team?
President Trump has confirmed he rang the president of FIFA, Gianni Infantino, over the suspension of the USA's top striker, Folarin Balogun.
So I saw the play. I understand sports really well. And that wasn't a foul. That wasn't even an infraction. That was two guys running full speed that happened to crash into each other. This referee, who is a little bit suspect, if you check his past, he made a call that nobody could believe. You know, even people on the other side. He didn't do anything wrong, and he's our best player or one of our best players, a very vital player. And he gave him a red card. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't think it meant much. Then I started hearing that means he can't play in the next game. Yes, I asked for a review by FIFA. I got him to do it.
Well, FIFA did review the red card issued to Balogun over his clash with a Bosnian defender last Thursday and decided to lift the automatic one-match ban that would normally apply, allowing the striker to play in tonight's last 16 match. Belgium's Football Association say they've still had no explanation, and European football's governing body, UEFA, said the decision was unprecedented, incomprehensible and unjustifiable. On the programme tonight, I spoke to David Davis, former executive director of the FA, the governing body of English football. He gave me his reaction to President Trump's intervention.
I am flabbergasted by the events that have emerged over the past 24 hours. I'm flabbergasted by his intervention, like UEFA, the governing body of European football, like the Belgian FA. At the very best, FIFA's handling of this matter has been clumsy. At its worst, it plays into the hands of those critics who think FIFA today is worse than it was in the days of its former president, Sepp Blatter. And the relationship with Mr. Trump has been far, far too cozy since 2018, when the US, Canada and Mexico were awarded the hosting of this World Cup.
Well, it is worth pointing out that red card itself was contested. Let's get a US perspective on this row. We can speak to Joel Pollak, who's California Post opinion editor. Good evening to you, Joel.
Good evening to you.
Good to have you with us. What do you make of President Trump's decision to get involved in this and ring up his friend Gianni Infantino?
President Donald Trump is the 12th man on the American roster. I think he is providing a very important assist, if you will, to the American team, and I think he did the right thing.
Is it really right, though, for political leaders, in particular someone with the power and the clout of President Trump, to get involved in what surely should be a footballing decision?
So, firstly, let me say this. As a general statement of principle, cheating to win the World Cup is 100% legitimate. And if it is cheating,
hang on a second.
He's just playing.
Surely cheating's not legitimate.
If there's one thing we learned from Diego Maradona, it's that you can cheat to win the World Cup. So there's nothing that Trump is doing that's unprecedented here. Secondly, I think that in a sport where you have so much that's so arbitrary, I mean, Americans are watching this sport and enjoying it, but then at the end of each half, there's this odd number that gets tacked on. They call it extra time. And it seems rather random. It's whatever the referee decides it's going to be. You don't have your own independent clock to really decide how much extra time should have been added. And then when you go over the extra time, you never know when the referee is going to stop or if he's going to allow play to continue. And in a sport that is that arbitrary, you know, it's not any different to have the president of your country calling up FIFA and saying, hey, can you cut us a break here? I mean, it seems to me to be entirely within the general ethos of how soccer works on the international stage.
So you're saying that you think it is cheating for the president to get involved like this because they've got a player turning out tonight in a couple of hours' time for the USA when perhaps he shouldn't be, but that's okay?
Yes, I think cheating is part of the game. So well played, President Trump.
And what do you make of the huge row about this?
Well, anything Trump gets involved in becomes instantly controversial and also highly entertaining because soccer in the United States, or football, I suppose, as the rest of the world calls it, tends to be a sport that everybody enjoys playing, but it has primarily a left of center audience in the United States. And that's mostly a regional phenomenon because some of the best teams are in the Pacific Northwest, which is very left wing. And they want the United States to win. But now the president that they dislike has just done them a huge favor. So they don't know what to do. They don't know whether to be happy that they've got their star back or to be angry and to root against the team because President Trump is the one who did it. So it's quite amusing.
Well, look, people do take football very seriously, and people do really care about football, and they really care about the World Cup. And surely a game of such a high profile, which involves so many nations, so many incredibly highly played players, and with so many fans around the world, surely you shouldn't just say that cheating is fine. Surely this is a game that above all has to strive for the highest possible standards. And surely of all people, the President of the United States should be ensuring that.
Well, if you think that soccer strives for the highest ethical standards, then you haven't watched it for very long. And I'm not the biggest soccer fan, but I did play in high school, and I'm aware of what goes on the field between players, the pushing and the shoving and the errant handball here and there, and the gaming of the ref. And everybody knows about the players who fall down when they're never even touched by the opposing team. I mean, cheating is part of the game. And if you're going to cheat on the world stage, as President Trump is accused of doing, then you may as well do it transparently, openly, and proudly. And I think he's brought new transparency, in fact, to the World Cup. So I think everybody should see this for what it is. It's the President of the United States weighing in on behalf of his team, in a sense, maybe exerting his rights as the host of the tournament. And it may help the American team. It may not help the American team. Who knows? The Belgians haven't exactly played very well in this tournament so far. And I think that it is, if nothing more, it's another example of President Trump doing everything he possibly can to win. That's the man we elected. That's what he promised to do. He said he was greedy his whole life, and now he was going to be greedy for the United States. And if you didn't believe it before, you believe it now. And people on the left perhaps didn't see it before, but now, in a sense, he's helping them because this is, again, a left-of-center sport in the United States, and Trump is doing what he can to help them win because they're representing the country.
Oh, how is this being seen there in the United States?
Well, most people are just looking forward to the game, and they don't really care about the drama. But again, on the political left, where there's more of a fan base for soccer in the United States, it has presented a political dilemma. Do we thank the president for helping the team, or do we denounce him, or do we denounce the team? One of the more interesting sort of knots that I've seen people try to twist themselves into is to say, well, we still want the team to win, but we wish we had won fair and square. Again, the concepts of fair and square don't really belong in soccer. In soccer, you win however you have to win. And, you know, anybody who spent some time around the sport knows that, yes, you want to be a good sportsman. You want to display sportsmanship, respect for the other team. You want to obey the rules, at least openly. But there's a lot of what we call gamesmanship that goes on around it. And, you know, the players who claim that the other team hit it out of bounds when they knocked it out of bounds, and you know, the arguments, the pushing, the shoving, was this a penalty? Wasn't that a penalty? So much about the sport is arbitrary anyway, that if you've got a president with a thumb on the scales, that doesn't really seem too far-fetched. So I think in general, the American public is just looking forward to the game, hoping the team does as well as it can. Nobody expected them to do as well as they have, so it's exciting. And in general, I think the feeling around the tournament remains so positive, and we've had such a great time hosting visitors from all over the world. It's been a wonderful July 4th present, really, to have all these fans from everywhere coming here and having a good time and reminding us of what a nice country this really is. So I think people still are enjoying the spectacle, regardless of who wins. They want the United States to win, but they're not really too tied up about what the president does or doesn't do, except, of course, for those fans for whom it's a political problem.
Joel Pollak, California Post opinion editor. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.